now going to watch a video tribute presented to Jerry by a friend, Dave Cheeseman.
I saw the light fade from the sky. On the wind I heard a sigh. As the snowflakes cover my fallen brothers, I will say this last goodbye. Night is now falling. So is this day. The road is now calling, and I must away over hill and under tree, through lands where never light is shone, by silver streams that run down to the sea. Under clouds, beneath the stars, over snow and winter's morn, I turn at last to paths that lead home. And oh, where the road then takes me, I cannot tell. We came all this way, but now comes the day to bid you farewell. Many places I have been, many sorrows I have seen, but I don't regret, nor will I forget all who took that road with me. Night is now falling, so ends this day. The road is now calling, and I must away over hill and under tree, through lands where never light has shone, by silver streams that run down to the sea. To these memories I will hold, with your blessing I will go, to turn at last to paths that lead home. And oh, where the road then takes me, I cannot tell. We came all this way, but now comes the day to bid you farewell. I bid you all a very fond farewell.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
They forgot, Eric, what you do at school when you say good morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
It's a privilege for all of us to gather this morning to celebrate the life of a man who made history. A man who had no trouble buzzing people around the area with that Spitfire, who was in all senses of the word a hero. When I was in education, I used to like to gather children together, and do a group story. If we were able to get a huge circle and gather it together and go around and ask each person for a special memory of Jerry Billett, well, we'd still be here tomorrow. So your homework is to share a Jerry memory before you leave today. And we begin our service with a special song, There You'll Be.
When I think back on these times and the dreams we left behind, I'll be glad 'cause I was blessed to get to have you in my life. When I look back on these days, I look and see your face. You were right there for me. In my dreams I'll always see you soaring above the sky. In my heart there'll always be a place for you for all my life. I'll keep a part of you with me, and everywhere I am there you'll be. And everywhere I am, there you'll be. Will you show me how it feels? Feel the sky within my reach, and I always will remember all the strength you gave to me. Your love made me make it through. Oh, I owe so much to you. You were right there for me. In my dreams I'll always see you soaring above the sky. In my heart there'll always be a place for you for all my life. I'll keep a part of you with me, and everywhere I am there you'll be. 'Cause I always saw in you my light, my strength. And I wanna thank you now for all the ways you were right there for me. You were right there for me. In my dreams I'll always see you soar above the sky. In my heart there'll always be a place for you for all my life. I'll keep a part of you with me, and everywhere I am there you'll be. And everywhere I am there you'll
To start us thinking about our memories of Jerry, I'm going to ask Bob Swadling to come up and share some of his.
not that short.
There you are.
Good morning.
There you are.
I am Bob Swadling, and I have been asked to speak about Jerry's life. It's been a little emotional for me, so just bear with me. Jerry and the Billing family and I go way back to when Brick and Eric were actually shorter than I am. I knew of Jerry Billing and his prowess at flying. I was introduced to him in 1970 at Ron Bell's airstrip. I had been flying with Dr. George Bruner, and we were about to put his aircraft away when he said, "Here comes Jerry Billing." I looked up to see this Aronka champ swoop down over us and pull into a climb while turning to come back around to land. Doc said, "Watch this guy, he's fantastic." Jerry circled around and was approaching to land as we had, and suddenly pulls up into a loop, at the bottom of which he sideslips into a perfect landing, then turns around, taxis back to us, shuts the engine off while still rolling, swings around and stops. I stood there in awe. The door opens and out pops Jerry and Karen. Doc Bruner introduced me to them, and that is where it all started for me. Little did I know that my life was changed that day. Jerry was well known as a wartime Spitfire pilot. I had been studying Spitfire since I could read. I loved aviation and attended a fly-in out at Jerry's house. There were all kinds of planes there, and I thought that Jerry and his family lived in aviation heaven. I met his two young sons, Brick and Eric, and they talked about planes and flying like normal kids talked about bicycles and baseball. I hung around after the fly-in and was invited into the house. Jerry was sitting there at the kitchen table with Ray Middleton, working on wooden racks that go inside beehives. Ray had restored Don Plum's Spitfire, and I started talking Spitfires with him. And I found that I could carry on a conversation regarding Spitfires. I also learned that he had a sense of humor and was really a normal guy and not the god that I thought he was. Years go by, and I became closer and closer to this family. Karen was a great cook, still is, and her meals were wonderful, even making homemade bread. I used to take Brick and Eric to hobby shops in the States. Brick was pretty serious, but Eric, you just never knew what Eric was going to do or say. We still laugh about some of these times, don't we, Eric?
What?
Yeah, who, me? Like the time I had the top down in my MGB, and my neighbor's daughter was riding her horse along the McCain side road. I slowed down so as not to spook the horse, and Eric, who was in the back, lets out this cat whistle and yells, "Hi-ho, Silver!" I was so embarrassed, and so was she, but the boys thought it was hilarious. They had picked up their father's humor. Jerry brought Cliff Robertson's Spitfire to Windsor in June 1976. I was invited to be ground crew on it, and this lasted for 22 and a half years. I traveled to air shows and saw him off in Windsor when he would practice his routine over his strip in Essex. Everyone in Essex got to know the unmistakable sound of a Spitfire in flight. Some people would say he was crazy, but Jerry Billing was not crazy with any aircraft. He was calculating. He was in control of every maneuver. He was good. I had my pilot's license, and when my friend Gary Porter bought an Aronka Champ, I got Jerry to teach me how to fly it. I had never flown a tail wheel plane before with a stick. I remember my first takeoff. Jerry was in the back seat and I in the front, and I was already aimed down the strip. Jerry said, "Let's go, you have it." The plane did not respond like a tricycle gear aircraft where the wheel on the front steers you. This thing had a mind of its own and started going left towards the cornfield. I pushed right rudder and we swung right, way right, right at the fence. Left rudder, too much, the cornfield again. Right rudder, the fence, oh my God. Then I hear Jerry in the back going, "Whoopee!" Somehow we staggered into the air. I yelled back, "Why didn't you take over?" And he says, "I was having fun." Jerry Billing taught me how to fly an aircraft. I had learned to drive an airplane, notice drive, at the Windsor Flying Club. He was the best instructor I ever had. Jerry was teaching a young gal how to fly when she was tragically killed in a car accident. Jerry was asked to fly over the burial at the cemetery, but he was doing an air show in the States, and there wasn't enough time. But when they were at the graveside, he showed up with the Spitfire and did a low pass. He would do things like that out of his own pocket. He supported the Terry Fox run by flying the Spitfire over every legion in Essex County, all out of his own pocket. He used to fly over the Happy Acres Festival for muscular dystrophy. He even flew the Spitfire over my house in Kingsville for my son Charlie's birthday party. His timing was impeccable. At air shows, he never dressed the part. You would see all the other pilots wearing flight suits and all sorts of patches and stuff, so that you could tell from a distance that they were a pilot. Not Jer. He wore Immigration Canada shirt and brown pants and a cravat if he was going to meet the crowd after. He wore an old blue headset, no helmet, never any sunglasses, regular dress shoes, and his leather flying gloves. The Spitfire was kept at the Kalamazoo Air Zoo in the winter, and I used to go with Jerry to help him service it. We stayed at the La Quinta Motel. We were at the La Quinta one time, and it was real cold. It went down to -3 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius, you just have to guess. I had my shower and Jer was already in bed, covers right up to his ears. He says, "I opened the window a bit, do you mind?" I said, "No, I like a bit of fresh air." So I got into bed. What a night. The drapes were closed over the heater, so the cold air was behind the drapes. And the heater thought that it was -3 in the room and went into overdrive. I woke up bathed in sweat. I threw all the blankets off and lay there in my underwear like bacon sizzling in a frying pan. I looked over and there was Jerry, all covered up, sleeping like a spanked baby. I don't know what time it was when I shut that window. Jerry was smart. In 1981, we were at the Reno, Nevada air races, and Jerry was displaying Woody Woods' Mark 16 Spitfire, which is owned by Mike Potter today in Ottawa. Jerry did his complete aerobatic routine, which you have to see to appreciate. It was like the Spitfire and Jerry were one. It was flying history. The Spitfire's history and Jerry's history. I called it a ballet or a dance. He never overtaxed the engine, which he called caning the engine, or stressed the airframe. He was just smooth. I was watching him do a low-level inverted pass about 40 feet off the runway, if that, upside down. All of a sudden, the engine stopped. My heart stopped with it. The engine picked up again, then stopped again. then it picked up again, then stopped again. It did this 3 times till it was running again. All this happened while upside down right on the deck. Then he climbed a bit, inverted, and rolled her upright and went on and completing his show like nothing had happened. When he taxied in, I jumped up on the wing and asked him about the engine cutting out. Oh, he says, I lost fuel pressure. I says, what did you do? Oh, I got on the wobble pump and she caught all right. The wobble pump in the Spitfire pumps fuel to the engine to give it fuel pressure. It is located on the right side of the cockpit, and you have to pump it like that. You fly with your right hand on the stick and your left hand on the throttle. So when the engine cut out, instead of panicking, remember he was inverted, hanging in the harness at knot feet, he had to let go of the throttle with his left hand, take control of the stick with his left hand, reach over with his right hand, and pump the wobble pump till the engine caught and stayed running. Any panic, and he would have been dead. To me, this was amazing. I'm sure that we all have our own Jerry Billings stories and memories, and I've shared some of mine with you people. I could go on and on and on, but I won't. My favorite, though, is how we got a full-size replica of Jerry Billings' Spitfire erected in his hometown of Essex. Our Essex Memorial Spitfire Committee, and I think they are all here, did it with the support of the town and the citizens. Jerry always said that no one cares. He thought no one cared about what he had done. I would always argue with him and say that we do care. We got Jerry Billing out of his nursing home to see the memorial to all the World War II veterans of the RCAF and RAF, and it is painted in the scheme exactly the way he flew it over the beaches of Normandy on D-Day over 70 years ago. Jerry saw that the people do care. He was very touched by this. In closing, I would like to repeat what happened at my son Charlie's house. This is Charlie's story. Him telling me. One day, when I got home from work, I heard my boys watching TV, a show about superheroes. When I came into the room and watched the show with them, they asked if I knew any heroes, and I said that I did. The question came fast and furious after that. Was he brave? Yes, he constantly flew into dangerous situations, knowing that he was at risk, but would never hesitate to go. Was he strong? Yes, he took on many enemies all at once, sometimes by himself, without any help. Did he have any special powers? Yes, he could fly. That was one of his greatest skills and powers. My eldest son then looked at me and said, "Dad, that is not a hero. That's a superhero." He asked me what his name is, and I smiled at my boys and said, "His name is Jerry Billing." Thank you.